In the year 2004, there was one guy who walked into a courtroom with a lot of arrogance, with a smug attitude, thinking that he can get away with anything, including assaulting women, including raping women, and including all sort of heinous crimes in the city of Nagpur. 200 women realized that this guy is not going to get away because of the laws of India were in favor of him, and decided to throw stones and also thrash him with slippers. And guess what? 15 minutes later, this guy died. Now, people who are so-called the rule of law followers, people who follow the procedure, people who have this, intellectual capacity of thinking that law is equal for everybody, might disagree that, this what happened to that guy was wrong. And maybe human rights activists also might say, no, he deserved a fair trial. But if you look at it morally, if you look at it as a human being, and if you actually look at it with a little bit of emotion, you will actually understand that all the women who were exploited, who were literally assaulted by this guy, and who had a smug attitude, he deserved what he got on that day. And this is a real story. This is not coming from a movie. This is not fictional tale for you. This is a real story that has happened in our country in the year 2004. Fast forward to 2024, where are we today? We are again talking about the same problems that are plaguing Indian society. India is not really safe for women, is it? India is not really safe for young children, is it? And the fact is that data tells us that it is actually not at all safe. When was the last time that you were okay with a friend of yours or even your sister walking from one place to another place, say between 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock at night in any of the urban cities? When was the last time you were okay and you were very peaceful about the fact that, your sister or your wife or your girlfriend has taken a cab to go to the airport in Bangalore at night during midnight hours? When was the last time you were okay with it? When was the last time you were not worried about it at all? When was the last time you didn't even have to send a message to her saying, let me know once you reach? When was the last time you actually told somebody that, hey, relax, I know you'll be safe, just let me know when you reach? Because when we get to that point where we know all of them are safe, that's when we can proudly say that India is a safe country. Because believe it or not, there's only one country in the world that has actually said it openly. If women are safe to walk around at midnight from one place to another place, irrespective of what they are wearing, then they belong and they are staying in the Emirates. And this is not me saying it, this is quoted by the ruler of Dubai. And ask anybody who's gone to Dubai or Abu Dhabi, they can all vouch for it.
How do you feel in this country?
I feel very safe personally. I've lived here my entire life, and I've never been to a safer country.
Why is it that they are so safe and why is it that it's so unsafe here? Millennials of India, Gen Z of India, here is a message for you today. Women's safety has become an issue again. Why? Because we know what has happened in Kolkata a few days back. It was a very, very heinous incident which affected all of us emotionally. Every single woman that I know and that I follow and that are my friends are putting very, very sensitive posts on Instagram. And you know what? There's a lot of truth in it. Almost every single woman in India has at least faced eve teasing. And if not, some have also faced rape threats. Some have faced much more horrible crimes like physical abuse and even assaults. Most of the rape cases don't even go to the police station because log kya kahenge, and it's a society issue there. And the cases that go to the courts are the cases where unfortunately the victim is no more to tell the side of her story. This has happened in 2012, this has happened in 2024, this has happened in 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018. Police officers in Hyderabad decided to gun down a particular convicted rapist a few years back. And guess what happened? Majority of the people, human rights activists, suggested that the police officers, what they did was wrong. But don't you think it's morally absolutely right? If you have ruined a person's life, don't you deserve to be, given or sentenced to death? Well, that's the major issue of India. Our laws have to change in order to protect women. We are right now talking about women reservation in the parliament. We are right now in the era where feminism and women empowerment are literally keywords for every single company, every single organization. We are living in a country where products built for women are selling much higher volumes in terms of money than for men, and yet we are not able to provide security and safety to the same women that we want to really serve. The problem lies in multiple aspects. Is it only the legal system that has to be blamed? Is it only the society as a whole that has to be blamed? Or is it our fundamental education system that has to be blamed? I would say the problem is in all three aspects, and guess what? Even the solution is in all three aspects. Let's start with the legal system. Why are our laws so old? Why are it not in sync with what the human being of 2024 needs? The rule of law plays a very, very significant role in any democracy, and India is a very vibrant democracy. But there is no meaning of a democracy where there is no rule of law. And if there is rule of law not dictated by what's happening around the country based on today's society, based on today's parameters, then there is no point. Can you imagine having sati in 2024? No, you can't, right? So why can't we change the laws as and when we grow as a country and as and when times change? That's number one. Number two, our society, there's this stigma attached to everything. The problem is that I hate the fact that mainstream media is highlighting the victim's parents, highlighting the victim's brother, highlighting the victim's sister, but they're not even taking 1 minute to name and shame the culprit. Why is that? Why is it that we only show, masked, blurred images of the victim? Why is it that we only show the interviews of the father or the mother of the victim? They're already stigmatized because they have actually gone through trauma. But when we cannot even name and shame the culprit who is responsible for such a heinous crime, name and shame the culprit and name and shame the culprit's family also. Because, let's face it, the culprit is the guy who is actually bringing shame to every man or every guy around. And that's why when everyone says, even if a guy says not all men are the same, sometimes when they say that, you guys are all the same, we just have to take it with a pinch of salt, because let's face it, it only takes one horrible guy to ruin it for all of us. And it takes one horrible incident like this to ruin it for everybody. Let's get out of that victim mindset and actually name and shame the culprit. Because these are the culprits that need to be named, shamed publicly, humiliated, and I would say this with full confidence, these guys should be sentenced to death. Because those crimes, they do not have a place, or they do not deserve to be alive on this planet. As simple as that. Now the third thing, our education system is not designed properly. We go to schools where boys and girls have to sit separately. They don't talk to each other. They don't communicate with each other. They only communicate within the same gender. So number one, they don't know how to collaborate with the other gender. Okay? Now let's say from this school they go to college. When they get into college, puberty happens. Hormones are also really active in your body. And at this point of time, again you are ostracized from each gender. Do not speak to girls. Do not touch the girl's hand. Girls are not supposed to speak to boys. Boys are not supposed to speak to girls. But human tendency kicks in, and only thing that you do is you start objectifying the other gender. Put in the role of pornography, which has become so commoditized today, it is available even on an app like Instagram. That's more than enough to trigger all sort of weird things in every single young male and female's mind. And fast forward to a few years, these guys join an MNC and they have to sit next to a girl, or a girl has to sit next to a guy, and they have to start working together. And while working together, they have to collaborate. And when they collaborate, they make something productive. And over there, a slight touch or a slight saying of saying, hey, dude, might be misconstrued into something else. And this is the reality of majority of India today. And like I said in one of the other videos that I did, we skipped this part. Instead of correcting this, we went straight to dating on cell phones and having dating apps plague our entire society. What do you expect will happen? So fundamentally, we need to change this whole system and say that, hey, at a young age, start collaborating with the opposite gender. Start working with them, start teaming up with them, start studying with them. That is when you will start looking at them as human beings and not as objects. As simple as that. So this has to be a society change, this has to be a education system change, and it also definitely has to be a legal system change. Believe it or not, we live in a country that aspires to be a developed nation very soon. We have the words that we use like Vishwa Guru and everything. What's the point of being a Vishwa Guru when we are not even safe for our own citizens? What's the point of being termed a Vishwa Guru when we are not even able to provide security to our own women? The day when an Indian girl can walk from one place to another place in a crowded city or in a town or in a village at 10 p.m. without being worried about anything or not even considering what she's wearing, and if she can reach home safely, and when all the close men in her family don't even bother to message her or ask her where she is and how she is because they also know it's safe, that is when truly I would say that India has become a developed country. Until then, everything else is just numbers, everything else can just be fiction. Because the sooner we realize this, it's better. And to all the men, women, whoever you are across India, it's high time we actually take these things in our control rather than just relying on terrible policies, old laws, and horrible society management of such significant topics, because these are the topics that will shape our future. And as I've said it before, and I will say it again, millennials and Gen Z are the present and the future of our country. Until next time, this is Rohit Kotpad signing off with a video from the Indian Millennials channel. Stay tuned and we will come back with more content. Jai Hind.